Let's
Well,
move right along. So, you know, Nissan News. This is where we would like to share the latest articles from the interwebs regarding Nissan, Datsun, Infinity, both from the official newsrooms and from the media outlets at large too, as well. Um, Now, as of late, we're going to be doing a little light amount of news tonight, but the reason why we'll be doing a lot of light news is because, quite honestly, we've got a huge interview that we'll be doing towards the end here today, and want to make sure that those folks have an opportunity to kind of tell us everything about what they've got going on in their world. So we're going to make that pretty quick tonight, just to set a precedent. Now, Nissan is set to invest $250 million in the U.S. plant that makes Leaf e-motors. Now, this is a new article that's come out, and I'm going to read this to you, but I am going to do a little backpedal here in just a moment. Now, for those that don't know, Nissan Motor Company CEO Makoto Uchida has announced a $250 million investment in the company's U.S. powertrain plant in Deckard, Tennessee, not Deckard, Deckard, Tennessee, to support the electrification to the lineup. Now, for those that don't remember what was happening with the Deckard plant, I don't know, what has it been? Probably about 6 months to a year. There was potentially going to be a lot of layoffs at the time. And that was because Nissan was producing a Mercedes engine for some time. The contract had ended, so they were potentially going to be looking at some layoffs. Nissan found an opportunity to not have to pursue those layoffs. And went ahead and started looking into retooling and then, of course, developing that plant for this opportunity for producing the electrification engines. Just to do a little backpedal.
hmm
Now, the Deckard investment boosts Nissan's new commitments to U.S. electrification to $750 million after last year's announcement of a $500 million investment to retool its Canton, Mississippi assembly plants to build two all-electric sedans. So again, I mean, this looks like it's going to be the future.
yeah.
So,
I
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, I think you're making a great point. The Decker plant, from what best I've known, has been a power plant engine building facility, moving into e-motor engine building, and then also how you mentioned the EV build of two
Mhm.
sedans in Mississippi.
Yeah,
Yeah.
now Nissan currently makes about 1.4 million internal combustion engines a year at its Tennessee facility, as well as electric motors for the Leaf currently. Now, that's usually most of that's going to be going through Smyrna. Now, it is reasonable to assume the new $250 million investment will expand e motor output in the Deckard plant. Now, there is
Okay.
something here that I did want to read verbatim. The Nissan boss acknowledged that the global market for EVs is expanding faster than the company expected. In November of 2021, the Nissan forecast that half of its global sales will be electrified by the fiscal year ending in March 31st of 2031, with some 40% of its U.S. volume to come from EVs.
Wow.
Now, I mean that's a lot. It's kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, that's a
The
quite a forecast. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean we're just kind of seeing that being the future. I mean it is distant future, but again, it is foreseeable. With all manufacturers at this point, where you see companies like Mercedes have just stopped combustion engine development also whatsoever. There's no more
Well,
funds that are being put into the
it's
development for new combustion engines in some manufacturers.
in some, because I have seen it's been a mixed bag. For example, there was I think Chevrolet has not only have they devoted like in the recent news articles like 35 million into EV. Meanwhile, they invested 800 million into internal combustion, which is kind of crazy to think about too. But
Well,
granted,
also
yeah,
that there's still a there's still a huge market for the engines themselves, not necessarily them going into vehicles, but there is still a purchasable
crate motor.
product that is a crate motor, if you will, that's for sale. I feel like these Nissan Leafs, and you can see behind me, these are just like swaps that are now being done, where people are taking the Leaf motors, redoing these battery packs, and then basically
Yes.
just putting the engine back out, and it is. a ridiculously popular power plant swap
It is.
nowadays. So
We
it's the fact that there's more Leaf engines that are out there, and they're really cost effective. I've been pricing them on OKQ and other markets,
Yes,
and
insurance
I mean it's
salvage type
just
of
as
place.
it's the cost is actually a lot more cost effective than say like hunting for SR20s or hunting for some of the sixes. It's getting to that point where it's just like, wow,
It
this is
you make
potentially
up a
going
good
to be a cost effective swap.
You bring up a good point though too, because as you said, yeah, the Leaf has been out for over 10 years, and so to get one added an insurance salvage, maybe it's something that was where the powertrain's still salvageable, but maybe not the chassis. You can get a very affordable swap, and you kind of have to. I wouldn't say redefine, but you're kind of doing a swap for different reasons. At least for guys like us, we do an engine swap because we want more power, something of that nature. But when we look
Yeah.
at an EV swap, it's kind of coming from this new wave of practicality or innovation. People love to retrofit things, so this is a great way to retrofit. If you remember, we saw a really cool build at SEMA, I believe it was, of that Sunny pickup with an EV motor. I think that's where is that where that picture's coming from?
No, this
Something
was
like that.
actually from a different platform that they utilize, but what you're talking about is this guy behind me. So
Yes.
yeah.
That one. That was a
Hmm.
Leaf powered, and by the way, stock, power levels from the Leaf that are in that truck, which by the way were twice the horsepower and three times the torque. So
I know it's crazy.
coincidentally, you get more
It
power.
flies. From
It
what I've
flies.
been told, it flies. So I mean, it is what it is. A few last things wanted to comment here. Uchida went on to say that he's added that more investment is to come in the U.S. under Nissan's previous announced plan to spend 15.5 15.58 billion with a B on electrification
Billion.
worldwide from now through 2026. The car maker is expected to announce a revised US electrification target on March 21st, 2024, which makes sense because Nissan's budget is usually around March and April when it knows what it's going to do. The executive said that Nissan's US plan will center around pure EVs rather than any e-power hybrid offsets, which aren't as well suited for the high speed, long distance driving conditions in the United States. So, wow. So we ain't
Interesting
messing with
article.
no suckers. We're trying to make the good stuff. So yeah, I mean that's it.
That's
But
that's awesome, man. Well, I mean, hey, again, it is a sign of the times, but again, we're not holding. I mean, we are still holdouts for internal combustion engines. By the way, we've got some really good comments online. Of course, John Hood was one that does say, "It's okay. I've only dedicated my entire life to internal combustion engines."
he goes, "What am I gonna do now? I'm 40
Yeah.
and all I know is internal combustion engines." It's like you gotta adapt, bro. Adapt. Let me see here. Phil
Uh,
said, "Sad but true." Yeah, it could be.
mhm. Mhm.
Let's see here. And Jamie is asking about the super matchy match shirts. Yeah, for our
Yeah.
guests that we'll be having
Noticed.
on here in just a little bit. But thank you for noticing. And yes, we will. We wear a lot of matching things that I don't want to talk about on the show on live